Hello and welcome to Todd Rolls Dice, where today we're going to take a look at the Wargamer.com Halo Flashpoint AMA that was held last week with Ronnie and Cleric, both from Mantic Games. Where else? So this is an AMA done with Alex over at I think he's editor at Wargamer.com. And it was actually Alex I reached out to and asked if I could cover this. He's absolutely come back and said yes. So Alex, on a personal note, thank you very much. I am very much looking forward to doing this. But I just want to get a few things out of the way first. So Wargamer.com is an excellent news source for all things relating to the hobby. This is their YouTube channel. It is linked in the description below, along with a link to their website and a couple of articles that you may find interesting if you enjoy Halo Flashpoint. But you can see here, just down this right hand side, they do AMAs with a whole host of people. You've got Mini Wargaming, obviously a huge YouTube presence, but also one of my favourite people in the hobby, Joe McCullough. I think his game systems are amazing. And then we've got Duncan Rhodes there, that wonderful face of premier painting ability and talent that I will never reach. So they have a whole host of interesting and fun videos on their channel. Definitely check them out here on YouTube, but also over on their website where they have news stories and all kinds of things. And a big shout out to Wargamer and especially Alex for letting me use this footage. It is their interview and I very much appreciate them allowing me to use it. Hopefully I don't ruin anything with my outbursts. But as I say, I'm going to react to this. So we have just over an hour's worth of AMA. There's quite a few questions here. We're going to go through this in full. I will probably talk over some of the stuff here, and I will also stop and start this, give you my thoughts on some of the things that are said. So, if you want to watch this AMA without me jumping in and breaking it up and doing all that, do go check it out. It is on the Wargamer YouTube channel right now. So, it's there if you don't want me yapping all over it. But how about we get into this one? So, hopefully the earbuds are going to stay in, because I have only just got them and haven't done anything else with them. But let's see what's going on with this AMA with Mantic Games on Halo Flashpoint's future. I love Halo Flashpoint so much.
Well,
I can't wait for ODSTs next month.
Hello, everybody. Friends, Romans, countrymen, Covenant members, banished members, members of other post-Covenant splinter groups, UNSC troops, politicians, members of the Spartan program.
Yay, Spartan program. Spartan program for life.
Here with me, I'm Alex Evans. I'm editor of Wargamer.com. This is one of our live video AMA events that we run. It's where we welcome
Alex with the knights in the background.
Tabletop game designers,
Very nice.
Publishers, retailers, content creators, all of these people and kind of prominent, fun individuals from across the industry to share their insights. In this particular case, we are privileged and delighted to welcome two pals from Mantic Games. We have Ronnie Renton, CEO of Mantic Games.
Such a rock star.
And
I love Ronnie
and
too
Clive
much.
Stone, who is head of direct sales at Mantic Games, but also a big boss of Team Halo in terms of one of the principal sort of product leaders on the game, and also, I'm told, chair of the rules committee. So if you're an active player, keep that in mind for your questions.
I'm one of the crazy people, basically. Yeah.
You need a few of them in each company.
This company, or Todd Rolls Dice, is just crazy people.
All right, let's cover off one thing. If by some strange chance you're here and you haven't heard of Mantic Games, they are one of the world's biggest creators and publishers of miniature war games. Based in Nottingham, the United Kingdom, along with some of their primary competitors in the sort of what they used to call the Lead Belt in that northern English town.
Times just earlier this year with this showing off, but it's very much the Lead Belt these days. But obviously it's just as a belt, but it's been known as a Lead Belt, and that's how it should remain.
Absolutely. I mean, keep the dream of lead alive.
That's not. No.
Ronnie here, boss of Mantic, started the company back in 2008, 2009, after working as a managing director at good old Uncle G Dubs Games Workshop. The first big success was Kings of War, kind of rank and flank.
We're going to take a look at Kings of War.
Was set up as, you know,
Another video
experience to Warhammer
but we
Fantasy,
will.
but better and cheaper. And as a result, it's still around here and doing great guns these days. And since then, they've done loads of other games. They've done Dead Zone, which is kind of another skirmish game, Dreadball, Armada, and Warpath, which are currently launching the Epic version of Warpath as well, which is another thing that Mantic's doing right now. But what we're here to talk about today is Halo Flashpoint, the official Halo tabletop miniatures game by Mantic Games. Loads of stuff going on for that game. We're going to get started with our questions in a minute, so keep those coming in. If you haven't seen the message already from the mods, you can send your questions in by clicking the speech bubble in the top right, and that will open a text chat. Put your questions in there, and I will be picking the best ones out of there to ask our guests.
This is just a great thing to do as well, AMA with some of the people who are fundamentally driving this game.
Thanks to the
Fantastic.
kindness of our pals at Mantic Games, one lucky member of our audience today will be the winner of a Spartan Edition starter set for Halo Flashpoint. So that's the full fat starter box with lots of stuff in there, everything you need to get started, Spartan miniatures, terrain, dice, rules, tokens, etc. All of the stuff that you can't see in that picture. So you get one of those, and you also get this one lucky winner will also get the new Rise of the Banished expansion box, which gives you a bunch of
very
Banished
nice
miniatures
box
and a new mode to play and some new terrain. So that's about $250 worth of stuff. And if you ask a question in this AMA, you will be entered. Ooh, that's a nice brute.
That's a very nice brute.
Call me a Halo noob after playing all of the games, but I was taught that the brutes were called Jeral Hanai by Halo Flashpoint. So, you know, mea culpa.
You to say, Alex.
To be fair, we always call them brutes.
But, right, there we go. That's all of the set dressing. That's all the starting. We know we've got stuff to win. You know who we're welcoming along. Ronnie, Clive, aka Cleric, thank you so much for coming along. I will kick us off, and I'll kick us off with kind of a softball. I'm gonna let the audience do the real tough questions. Halo Flashpoint is less than a year old. Launched in November 2024. You've already done two starter sets, but also 2 full expansions. Rise of the Banished, and now Feet First into Hell with the new ODST miniatures. That's quite a lot of stuff in a year. Quite surprising pace of releases in the first year. What's behind that? How have you managed to do that?
Yeah, kind of. It is and it isn't. I think, Alex. Normally, when we launch a 2-player game, we will have 2 armies in it. And I think one of the things that we wanted specifically to do with Halo was to give us few barriers to entry from people picking up the box to playing. And so some of the things were very obvious. Easy to pick up rules. Yeah, let's make sure, the cubes, very intuitive rule set. We know how to do that. Big step from when we did Dead Zone with this was that the terrain comes inside, it's card buildings, and it's assembled in 10 minutes, literally 10 minutes.
Yeah, it's not wrong.
First mat, so there's a 2v2 game. But one of the big hurdles, once you've got your gaming table set up, once you've got your basic rules of how to, following a guide of how to play, assembling your miniatures, we've dealt with that. And one-piece kits. If they are more than one piece, we've assembled them for you, so they're ready to go. Red and blue team, easy. But then you have to build an army list. And if you have to go and build an army list, it suddenly is a thing that we do naturally and actually quite enjoy, but for a new person can be yet again intimidating. And so by playing Spartan on Spartan, 4v4 draft system, you don't even need to do that. And so we've been saying that in actual fact in this box, it is 15 minutes from unboxing to playing the demo, including building the terrain, getting on the gaming table. So I think that kind of gave us the ability to release these guys pretty quickly afterwards, which was still 6-7 months, and that's probably the other side of your 2-player set. These are Spanish, these are the Zicali mercenaries. New scenery, new terrain. They're coming out as singles later this week, so you don't need to buy the big set if you don't want. But I think in some ways it feels like a lot on the other way. I think it feels like it's a nice, steady 3 to 4 months, and then feet first into hell are still
I agree.
month and a half away.
It's not the Games Workshop rush of products that you feel like you have to buy every couple of weeks.
Also giving choice. So my American guy a year ago was saying, Ronnie, it's too slow, we need everything now, we need banished yesterday, and
let it breathe.
Take a lot of people with us on this journey. So sorry for a long answer, but I think it's both a balance of bringing new games on and keeping the hardcore vets well paced and engaged with it, and new things coming to keep it fresh.
100%.
Super. So there's actually loads of questions coming through from the audience, which is fantastic. So I'm just going to dig straight into those. Starting at the top with one that's close to my heart, Ungoy. So Sweepy asks, I'm a huge Covenant fan and patiently waiting and very eager for grunts. Could you tell us anything about timeline or potential keywords we could expect for the coolest little guys?
Well, Horde has to be grunts, right?
So
like a cleric
I can
question.
answer one bit of that, and because this doesn't confirm or deny anything. But from a rules perspective, if you were looking at grunts and thinking what keyword would work really well with them, well, Flashpoint already has some keywords built into it to future-proof it, which kind of says we might have plans to do things like that in the future. But having a rule which represents the ability to have more of them in a cube than we currently have would be interesting and allow for a different style of play. And we have Horde, but there are other ways that you can simulate having more models on a board that you wouldn't necessarily have right now. So that one little bit of that question around rulings and keywords, I could definitely see a new keyword that is more attuned to something like grunts, or if you were thinking the UNSC side, something along the lines of like Marines, where you'd have lots of these things. Certain keywords like that would be really good.
Okay.
Little tidbits of what's
diplomatic answer
on the rules team's mind there.
Obviously,
what
I
have we got?
think just to back up on that and to bring the truth kicking and screaming into the daylight, we're obviously not finished. ODST are announced, they're up for pre-order, they are landing in hell in end of October, early November in stores, in people's hands. A huge fan favourite. Maybe coming towards the end of the last ones that's going to come with the board, with the terrain, with the dice, with the full theme. There's still things that need to be done to complete out the UNSC and the banished armies, which is your
interesting
Marines, and that's definitely something that we're looking at doing coming in.
So I've loved these faction boxes because it is a full faction terrain and dice and everything. It is effectively a starter set for that faction, minus the rules. Well, you get the rules for those units, but not the actual game rules, which is accessible through the web app, through online, digitally. There's so many ways of getting it. And buy the rules book separately from Mantic. Interesting that he's phrased it as they might be coming to an end, and they're supplementing out the armies rather than new faction boxes. Because ODSTs, and they can link in with Spartans, we already know this. But they do feel like their own thing. But as I'm sure these guys are aware, we don't need an expansion every 3 months with a whole new set of terrain, because the terrain is excellent as it is. And you can build your own terrain with the Dead Zone and Flashpoint stuff. So, and the card terrain is available on its own after these boxes have launched as well. I never thought that they'd actually change that model, but it does make sense. Why do you need to do faction boxes for every new thing? This is going to be a fascinating AMA.
2026. We've got a few other fan favourites, another few fan specials like the Team Phoenix, which we'll talk about in a bit. So, you know, on that, we have a lot planned. But what we're really going to be making sure we do each time is complete out these factions before we move on to new ones.
Sure.
So,
I think
from that complete out faction, so the Banished are a faction that are outside of the Covenant. So I'm taking that as you've got your Infinite, and ODSTs don't fall into Infinite, although they do, but the Infinite timeline is a bit of a mess. But Marines would obviously fall into that, and then you could have captains and lieutenants, higher up officers, things like that to go with them, very much like we've seen with the ODSTs. You can ally in Spartans, you can ally in ODSTs with them. Sounds like both Marines and Ungoi or Grunts would function in a similar way of maybe 2 models on a base. They're weaker, but you get double the firepower or whatever. But the Covenant has overlap with the Banished, and you can absolutely use the models. The weapons might not be accurate, but they have Hunters, they have Jackals, they have Ungoi, Elites and Brutes we already have. You could do Buggers, the flying things. I can't remember what they're called. I always just call them Buggers. But you could do them as well. They technically do work with the Banished. But I think that we're going to see a line drawn in the sand between the UNSC of this timeline, because these are all Spartan 4s. Chief is in his Infinite costume, and the ODSTs are a throwback to Halo 3 ODST. But the UNSC stuff doesn't really change that much. The art style and things is pretty similar between the original Halo trilogy and Halo Infinite, which is what this is all based on, so that's fine. The UNSC at its core doesn't change, outside of the odd weapon here and there. But the Banished are very different to the Covenant. The Covenant have a whole different structure. They would have different leaders. They would have more named characters that are non-brute, put it that way. So does this mean that UNSC will get fleshed out because they are the good guys of the story and Banished are the current adversaries that Halo Studios and Microsoft are pushing? But also, once they're fleshed out, other factions, well, what could that be? The Flood? Promethean? Don't really want Prometheans, but it would be interesting to see. There would be really cool miniatures. Obviously, Covenant would be a separate faction. There would be overlap with the Banished, but they would have their own functionality, and I can see that being a very separate thing. Yeah, I mean, the future is looking bright, but also there's so many questions because Halo is so rich and diverse.
It's probably a good time then on that sort of general topic of what's on the horizon to cover off a topic that's come up in many of the questions so far, so I'm going to boil it down into one, basically. It was also one of my questions that I prepared, which is essentially Mantic has expanded existing games that it has, settings that it has, into different scales of game before. You've done it with Warpath and Firefight. We've had numerous questions saying, is Halo going to get its own Firefight style mode? There are vehicles in Halo. There is no vehicles in Halo Flashpoint.
Needs to happen.
Is that something that's on?
As a Halo fan, it needs to happen.
Absolutely, it's on our plan. You know, absolutely, that is something we're looking at engaging with. It's a big commitment in terms of you can't have one vehicle. You're going to need 5. We're going to need to go at it. And there's nothing worse than starting a hobby project and getting halfway through your painted army and then jumping off onto the next one, and then you end up not doing either. And so, you know, at the moment, and in 2025, most of 2026, probably all of it, but definitely most of it, it's still Halo Flashpoint. There's many things that we want to do in this game, in the 2x2x2 skirmish level game,
which is great. First off,
will make the game better, more fun. We'll keep it fresh for existing players and continue to recruit. one of the things Mantic's always done, and we did it with Dead Zone, and then we went up to Firefight, which is exactly what you're talking about. The more Dead Zone you've got, the more you've already nearly finished your Firefight army. So, you know, if you keep adding your Spartans and painting them and building them up, if you go and do the sci-fi terrain, there's the card packs, there's also the plastic stuff. If you get into that as another hobby project, everything you've got will translate into the Firefight version. We will not do it at a different scale. So
future-proofing.
The more Halo Flashpoint you've got, the more Halo Firefight you've already got. And so it's very much our plan that we won't change the scale. We won't make you buy everything again new. That's not the way.
I just want to throw out there, they're saying Halo Firefight. Firefight is already a game mode. I don't think what they're doing is a firefight mode. They just mean that their firefight is a larger scale Dead Zone. So it would be Halo Flashpoint, Big Team Battle, or whatever you want to word it. Firefight is a working title, but the Halo connotation with Firefight, so many F words, not those ones. Firefight is a game mode that we may see without vehicles in Flashpoint. What they're talking about is referencing the Mantic Firefight. I hope that made sense to you, because it didn't to me, but I know what I mean.
We roll, we will really let you. So, do we want to do it? Yes. We're dealing with licensees. We're dealing with tooling of vehicles, expensive and big. But is that where we're heading? We'd love to think so. We're talking about it, and if we can do it, we absolutely will.
Amazing. That's the answer that I want to hear.
There's an encouraging note for the future there. That's very cool.
Keep buying Flashpoint.
Terrain, actually.
We'll get vehicles.
A question here from an Annihilator27, which is even slightly threatening name. Will Flashpoint be getting more unique Halo-themed buildable plastic terrain? I know you've got a limited plastic terrain kit at the moment, as well as the oodles of pre-painted cardboard ones, printed cardboard ones in the boxes. Are you looking at doing more unique Halo plastic terrain?
It's like drop pods and banished kind of terrain. What do you think? Do some more hard plastic terrain?
I think we can definitely do more hard plastic terrain.
Please do.
That's the question of the system that question comes from, is the battle zones terrain we do. And battle zones terrain is huge for us. There's a large terrain crate range. And the untapped potential of that range is that you can customize it and make whatever terrain you kind of want. And we did dabble and do some Halo themed tiles. And in the future, never say never.
Yes, I understand the question. We categorically have more hard plastic scatter terrain coming. So
yes,
they are
drop pods confirmed. I'm happy.
So
great.
Banished have a whole load of banished. One of the things that cardboard doesn't do terribly well.
We've seen the banished stuff.
Round edges. Goes very well together in straight lines. Gives you lots of cover, lots of thematic effect, but it doesn't do scatter terribly well. It doesn't do round edges. So what we've done with every set that we've set going,
Covenant terrain is round.
A hard plastic.
Are we going to get Covenant terrain in hard plastic?
Really
That'd be so cool.
The first one was the UNSC scatter, and what were they had in there?
Scatter's nice.
What was the stuff in that
Oh,
box?
it's like the blast shield, little crates. I was just looking to see if I had one next to me. It's on another shelf.
Yeah.
So there were things like
Did a review of that a few months ago on the channel.
And various.
Great.
It's a nice kit.
Perfect in colour. You paint them up. It's a hobby project. It's more scatter. We've got a banished one coming in. They're kind of power generators, and those.
We've talked about that on the channel as well.
One for the the ODST, which has not yet been announced, but I might have hinted at
Drop
early
pods.
on when I was talking about it, and I forgot that we haven't announced it yet. So watch this space. But there is that.
100%. I want scatter terrain full of drop pods. I just want a box of 8, 10, 20 drop pods. Give me all the Halo drop pods. That will make me so happy. ODST is my faction. Give me all of the drop pods and everything else. I'd love to see more. This is all sounding positive. The future of this game, as I've said for a long time, is looking really good. As long as we still, we're getting new players and everybody keeps playing it and enjoying it, and ultimately it's a licensed property. As long as they keep making money, they're going to look to do this stuff. Yeah, absolutely. This is music to my ears.
The hard plastic stuff, that will not be themed anything other than the UNSV styled with the poor Halo terrain. Everything else is a bit too esoteric to do. But I don't think I've done that terrain set twice, once ruined, once complete. There is thousands of ways of putting it together. I've seen oil rigs, I've seen buildings, I've seen spaceships, I've seen internal spaceships. Believe you me, with those terrain, and this was before we had the Halo one, and we were on probably the third or fourth wave of releases for that.
Their terrain, and I've covered the big box of it, the Halo box with a couple of Halo pieces in there and their standard walls and clip system. I struggle with a clip system, but it is a very intuitive and modular terrain kit. How I will probably do it is build things and fix them in place. For me personally. But it's like Lego. It's a terrain set that's like Lego. You just put it together however you want and build these crazy things. They have so many different types. If you haven't seen it, it is on the Mantic website. It is really good. And all of it is that generic sci-fi that with the right paint scheme, you can easily make it look like whatever universe you want. Star Wars, Halo, Firefly, maybe. So there's a lot of play in there. And I think that their terrain, hopefully as Mantic grow with all of the crazy things that they're doing, and they're doing more terrain, and they do keep adding stuff. Hopefully we're going to see some interesting pieces, and I would like down the line a Forerunner style kit. Doesn't sound like we're necessarily going to be getting that. But still, this is all good and looking to the future, and it very much sounds like the attitude is never say never.
Range, so there is infinite possibilities there.
Nice one. I missed a question I think is quite good, but I'm going to direct it to Cleric, because I've heard Ronnie's answer to this before, and I'd be interested to hear more on the rules design side. How fun is this game if you've never played any version of Halo?
My kids had never played computer games of Halo. Obviously, I grew up with it. I'm old. They hadn't. Their first experience of playing, a
Halo's not that old.
Experience was when I showed them Flashpoint, and they dived in, and there's no stopping them now. They absolutely loved the system. It was very quick to learn. It's one of those things. Like Mantic has this mantra of all our game systems, which is easy to learn and hard to master, and that is absolutely at Halo Flashpoint's core. Anybody can pick this game up and play. We do demos 15 minutes in, and 9 out of 10 times we can walk away from the demo by turn 2, turn 3, and people are playing themselves, and they just get it. It's quite easy to do that with. So all the experience I've seen, and I've done lots of tournaments, lots of demo games, stores, store owners, normal people, everyone, they kind of just love it. It's fun, it's easy, and you enjoy it. When you start rolling 8s and things start exploding, and you kill models, but then they're coming back, they're respawning, you're like, this is great. Even that model you spent hours and hours painting is like your best paint job ever. In a lot of war games, you'll put it on the tabletop, it's dead round 1, and then you're like, I spent a week painting that model. But in Halo, it just respawns. So it's just a great experience.
Is this Captain Ginger's question? How much is this game? I've replied, the most fun you can have with dice.
Ronnie really loves this game, y'all. You should be aware of this. My quick follow up to that, Cleric, is, and I do mean quick, is did you anticipate the endlessly exploding crits being as much of a kind of selling point as it seems like they've become?
Yeah, I played Dead Zone. It's in an engine we have already.
It is, but actually, it's a bit more dramatic in Halo. In Dead Zone, it's a bit more balanced, and you don't get as many dice, and you don't get them quite as you don't get them as quickly or as easily as you do in Halo. And so when you get that, one in whatever 240-year-old it is, and you've got all those 8s, and 6 gives you 7s and 8s. It's even more dramatic. I mean, the good thing is Spartans can take it with the shields and their armor and the point, but it is a heck of a lot of fun and easy to pick up and quite addictive. It's quite good fun, and I think it's yes, we expect it.
D8s are a great mechanic for it as well.
Be quite this much of a laugh because we've never been this crazy with Dead Zone as we have been with this.
Brilliant. Following on from that, I think is another good question for Cleric. And quite a broad and important topic for the growth of the game. How does the team handle balancing the game? How do you primarily focus on the competitive space and the meta?
Balance update
or
coming
try to balance around casual play
in
as
October.
So that actually is a wider thing that we do. We because we have our app, and it's great. Everybody builds their lists. People run their tournaments through it, and we gather all that information. So from a rules building point of view, we see the list that people are building and we see what they're not taking to tournaments alongside what's winning at tournaments. So when you come to balance it, you actually get to look at, is something busted because a few people know how to use it really, really well, or is something just needing adjusting for the general health of the game? And we make that choice, we test it, we then put it out to more playtesting. And so by the time it comes to a balance update, which is due shortly, we've gone through so many checks and balances that what we're actually doing improves the health of the game. And so, it's not long. In October, there will be the first big balance update. And I think people will genuinely then start seeing the work that goes on behind the scenes to keep Halo fresh, to keep it new player friendly, but also extremely competitive and a very, very good tournament game. But it's not one or the other. It's built for everyone to enjoy the system.
I think that's very cool, and I think the app, the way that you've approached the app,
it's a competitive game that everyone can play.
As a newsworthy topic since it was announced, because not all players in this space treat player aid apps / competitive play apps as in the way that yours does. Not to put too fine a point on it.
The app's great.
A couple of interesting questions from
the app is brilliant.
19450. Just rolls off the tongue. First thing, and this is close to my heart, my grave mind, you might say. How likely is it that there will be flood in the future?
If they let us do it, we'll do it. I mean, coming down the line, we want to do everything. I mean, there's no part of this universe we don't want to explore. Are we supporting flood right now? No, we're not. It's not there. I think there's other things that we're starting to press into sculpting, and there's going to be some mind-blowingly exciting stuff happening. I think people are going to love where we're going with what we've got coming out in 2026 because of the fantastic response we've had. That cheers up the licensor. So when I bounce in, I'm no longer the 6-headed lunatic that's asking to do this. Like, that kind of if you want to do that. So the more success we have, the more we do a great job with it, the more we revere the IP, we get license to do. And we'd like to do everything. So both the firefight range and adding flood to Flashpoint. So I can't say it's a sculpting, I can't say it's a yes, but would we like to do it? Absolutely.
That's been Ronnie's stance for this game since the word go.
The enthusiasm alone is happy news for me. I just want to see some tendrils on my tabletop.
I don't. I love the flood, but I don't want to see them. They sound terrifying.
I was going to ask in my questions as well, so it's great to have this from a real person rather than me. Lil Stinker, which is another great name, asks sort of two connected points. Firstly, is there any potential for Flashpoint to explore concepts not found in the Halo video games, like armor or weapons not in existing lore, or even units and lore not found in the video games or books? And connected to that, we have a question about campaign.
So
or
making their
narrative
own
modes, which is one of the things I wanted
lore.
to ask about. So let's go with the unseen lore first. Is there any?
Before we get the answers, narrative-wise, you guys have probably heard I'm looking at doing my own. I'm seeing how everything falls for the first year, but I'm looking at doing my own custom firefight / potentially narrative thing. You know how much I love narrative. I don't know how far Mantic go into that with their other stuff. They obviously have lore and things for their own games. But I don't know how much narrative that they do. So hopefully it's a yes. I would love to see something. But I'm not sure how much that they will do. So this is going to be a fascinating answer for me.
Potential for that.
Live one for you. The
I
answer's
mean,
no.
Halo has a wealth of lore already. It has more novels than you could shake a stick at. It has lots of games already. I mean,
Big novels coming out
could
next year as well.
Spend years just simply covering off what is established already before you even got to the point of trying to make it up ourselves. And
that's the right answer. Yeah,
you know,
that's what
I'm
I
a
want.
massive fan of Halo. I want to see things that are already described in Halo. Before we go ahead and like try to think up or reinvent the wheel, Halo is already a massively established thing. You don't need to go outside that to find inspiration.
And
If only someone had told the TV show that.
I think we've got our own universe, so if we have creative urges, we stick it in the Warpath universe, you know, where there isn't a licensor and it isn't, you know. So I think Cloud's answered it spot on, which is our Halo license allows us to explore Halo, and there is already, as we've said, you know, we're dunking through 3 releases in a year, and we've not even scratched the surface. We've still got Flood, we've still got Firefight, we've still got tons and tons of things that haven't been
That
covered.
is the correct stance to have for this license.
Halo, but there is massive amounts of material that we can work with.
From an old school Halo nerd.
And what was
That
the
is
second part to that question?
music to my ears.
The second part is perhaps a little less cut and dry, and that is, you know, I was going to ask about this as well. The game, so far, most of the game modes have all been kind of built more around the multiplayer experience.
Well, I'm very much
Halo
PvE so far.
lore and story. Could we see a campaign or a narrative play system?
So yeah, so far it has been PvE, and it's a great thing because we understand that, and I think we know that audience very, very well. That's what Kings of War was. That's what The Walking Dead was. That's what Firefight and Dead Zone were. And so we've got this wealth of experience. But over the last 15 years, we've also done some world-class dungeon crawlers, you know, and we've done some games with solo play and narrative play. The Here's Negan game was a real fun game where you were filling in a little bit of the IP that had never been written, and you got to conquer the sanctuary. So,
okay.
You know,
well, they have done stuff.
The honourable speaker to my previous answer, but if they'll let us go there, we think there's a few narrative parts that play better as a narrative game than they do as a PvP game. So
yes,
PvE
there is
versus PvE, and we love to do that. And that's one of the big things I think we're just starting to talk about and look at and see if we can explore. I think there's one runaway train that is Flashpoint, but there's other ways of exploring the Halo universe. And I think one of those that would be very compelling would be to look at trying to do a PvE.
I would be there in a heartbeat. I wouldn't shut up about it.
Interesting.
Fascinating answer, and I love that they're open to it.
Got a bit of a question about more variants of existing units, which is something that I was thinking about as well, looking at kind of ways to deepen the strategy that you can play within the existing Flashpoint game. So could we Darky Ned asks, could we expect different variations of existing units in the future? Example, Master Chief with the sword exists. Could we see Master
need an
Chief
assault
with
rifle.
an assault rifle, which may cost a different amount of points? Presumably, you know, apply that.
I
to
think
other
the answer's already yes.
To represent if you're picking up different weapons throughout the game.
If it makes sense, then
different models with different weapons to switch out during the game, I think, is too complex. What I'd love is models, and we've seen it with some of the Spartans, that you have different variations of starting weapons. So we've already seen this in an element. Chief absolutely needs other sculpts, and I believe that Fireteam Phoenix was one of the first of this new resin material that they're using to craft stunning miniatures. I'd love Chief in that. I don't think his current model is, but I might be wrong. Atriox is fine, he's got 2 versions, he doesn't really have other weapons. Arbiter, I would love a couple of different Arbiters with different starting weapons, and obviously you can pick up other stuff and things. We have Buck and Dare on the way. Buck has his assault rifle. There is sirens going by. They're not after me, I don't think. So Buck with the assault rifle is fine, but in the lore, if you're a lore nerd, Buck does become a Spartan 4. So instead of Buck with different weapons, what if we had Buck ODST and then Buck as a Spartan? Sounds like that isn't off the table. I think that Chief needs a model with an assault rifle. He would be less points, but he would still be the absolute beatstick that he is, and you can give him to pay the points for a sword. You give him it, pay the points for however you want to do it. I don't think we need different sculpts because you have that element of purchasing other weapons, but I do think that personally, as a collector and a painter, and I'm not really a painter, but as someone who wants to buy this stuff, I would love a couple of different Chief poses with different weapons. I would love all sorts of things. I'd love a kit that is just customizable. You put your own helmet, you put your own weapons, you pick your own armor style, and some sort of modular builder, Spartan, banished, whatever. I'd love to see that personally. I don't think that another Chief is off the table, but I think it would have to be character models. Let's see what they say.
Why wouldn't we? You know, Master Chief is pictured throughout his long career with lots of different weapons and lots of cool artwork. Ronnie said earlier, you know, it's if they'll let us, we'll do it. And I think that's exactly the statement for a question like that. It's if Halo will let us.
Yes, we're gonna have loads of her. We're gonna have loads of Master Chief. Master Chief is coming with every weapon option because it's Master Chief.
Yep.
Good.
Every pose possible.
Ronnie saves the day.
Agree on that, Ronnie.
You name it.
Yeah, no.
Ronnie
Of
says
course, I
Master
think
Chief
we've
is
already
coming
got
with all.
we've got 2 Atrioxes. At this point, they're pose variants because the card they're both the same card, aren't they? I think.
Yeah, same model, 2 poses.
Yeah, but as we get deeper into the IP, we will look. That was Master Chief here. There's maybe an Atriox here, and we will at that point load them up with that weapon option and give them that card. And so, yes, categorically, do it in fun places, do it in interesting places, but we will revisit and put Master Chief out with different loadouts.
Amazing. Happy. I'm happy with that answer. Brilliant.
I want to see.
You see, I have to give a diplomatic answer, and Ronnie just goes, "Tell them anyway." Yeah.
Well, since we're going for it, let's talk about.
I mean, Master Chief would be an incredible, like a special anniversary character or something.
There's a question here from Whitons. Are there plans for other human subfactions, Marines, Reach Army, Insurrectionists, etc.? We touched on
Insurrectionists would be interesting.
The word Marines was mentioned earlier. I'd like to hear some more about Marines. What's the plan?
Insurrection would be great.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's where we're going to. Our
Clive just like, I'm not dealing with that.
We're looking down the road in 2026 and we're pressing stuff into sculpting. So the obvious place to complete out the Spartan, the UNSC faction, and the Banished is Grunts, Jackals, and Marines. And so, those are our proposal that's in front of Halo Studios right now. And as long as they are cool with it, that's the place we're intending to head down towards.
Great.
There's a few other
confirmed 2026.
They've already greenlit that will be announced. I think probably just after the ODST have landed. So
Yeah, I'm expecting something in November.
And hopefully we can roll into those other things middle of 2026.
Okay, interesting. Let's just break that down. So there is something that's already greenlit that we don't know, that hasn't been referenced here, because they've talked a lot about Jackals and Grunts and UNSC Marines. They are very much on the cards, and they are currently in development. I'm taking from that because obviously licensees, Halo Studios have to greenlight everything, which is how this stuff works. But there is something that will be announced within the next couple of months that will probably be going by the release, February, maybe March next year. It's something else. They never mentioned Hunters. Are we going to be getting Hunters? Is the next box going to be Hunters? Oh, please. Please. You can only take them in pairs, though. And when one dies, the other one needs to get enraged. They know this. Right, that's cool. We have an idea of when the next announcement, the Wave 4? Wave 5 announcement will probably be back end of this year. I was expecting it just after the ODST drop anyway. Next year is just going to be fleshing out these factions, and then we see where we are this time next year with potentially branching out then, just as a vague idea of where the timeline is going for what's releasing. This is really open. They are not holding back on their answers. They are giving you as much truth and as much of an idea as they possibly can. This is what I love about Mantic. They're so open with the community.
Clive's looking at me disapprovingly. What have I done wrong?
Oh, I'm not. I've got an image I could share, but it's risky. We don't do risky things, do we?
Yeah, there's no one here. It's just you and me. So
exactly. It's going to be plastered across the internet in 5 seconds flat afterwards, is it?
Right. Exactly. You should have said that. That's right. Moving on.
I'm gonna get away with that one. So there's a question here about the app. Can you talk about the idea of the app as a subscription service? I'm new to the game, and I think this person is saying subscription services in general feel a little predatory, which has turned me off getting the app. Was there a reason to go with that model rather than a single purchase or a free resource?
I mean, firstly, you can use that app for free to do almost everything any player would want to do for the game. The rules are on it for free. The list building is on there for free. You can even host an event with your friends for free. You can join the rankings for free. The only thing you're really paying for is convenience. Like, I want to have 10 lists. I mean,
that's why I pay for it.
Has
more lists and all of the rules
I want
for everything, not just
and I want all my
the Wave 1 stuff.
But ultimately, if I bought the game, I have the cards anyway, so I can see those stats in front of me. And the list builder just gives me an easy way to say, these 4 or 5 models cost me 200 points. This is great. If I want to do as a TO, then that's an added convenience that helps me run the system. I can get other players on. They don't have to pay anything to do that, to use the app. So it's as friendly as I think anybody can make it, while still sustaining a platform that has constant upgrades, constant improvements.
And that's the bit. It's that we can't just switch on and off a software engineer. So, like Clive said, almost everything is free. You pay for the convenience of a living rulebook all the time, always updated. So aimed at competitive players. If you are a normal player, a regular player, doesn't matter. It's aimed at the competitive player or the intellectual who has 100 army lists, or 10, 20 army lists, 30 army lists, different factions that they're building out. But we're paying for storage and server space at this point, ad nauseum. So you go, okay, it's £25 for the app, and then when do we switch it off? When do we turn your army lists off? Whereas the subscription model, it just stays there and it just keeps running as long as you want. And there's certain things like, okay, I want the rule book that's in the Rise of the Banished, but I'm a Spartan player, so I don't want everything else that's in the Rise of the Banished. So, okay, well, there's 2 ways you can do that. You can either do the subscription model, which will instantly give you all of that, or again, if you don't want the subscription model, There's a PDF of the rulebook in there, and you download it, and it's a couple of quid, and you can stay up to speed with all the rules from all the expansions for a few quid, a few dollars each time. So there is, the subscription services. It isn't only subscription. The subscription, if you're playing a lot and you want everything on your iPad at all times, 20 army lists. A casual player, you get one army list, you don't need anything else.
I think it's a fair question.
There's a number of options you can pick.
But yeah, it's as free as you want it to be. And it's a great resource that you don't have to pay for the cost of.
PDF of them, everything's in there. If you want to stay up to date with everything all the time, subscribe. It's about the same price as,
If you want to see more of the app in use, I think I've done 2 videos on the app, I think. The first one is going over the free stuff. I'm not going to link any of this stuff at the end of this. I don't know what I'm going to link at the end of this video. I'll link something. But I have done a video on the app on the channel that will give you a better idea if you want to know what, or you're not entirely sure what you would get for both free and paid for. I think it covers it. But they've given you everything there as well. So I know I keep plugging my videos. I'm sorry, I'm a content creator. Please watch my videos. That's why I make them. But yeah, the app, you don't have to pay for it. You get all of the cost off. It's yours to just use and utilize. And idiots like me who dabble with it every now and then but want everything there, I pay my monthly subscription. I don't always use it. I don't use it every month, but I'm happy to pay the subscription. And if me and other people paying that subscription mean that other people get it free who don't want to pay for it, but they get the bits that they need for free, that's fine. I'm more than happy to do this.
Buying them individually, probably a little more in this case. Some of our other game systems, it's the same price as buying a book. But you've got it up there. So it's something we worked about, it's something we looked at, and we think it seems to be the fairest way is however you want to do it, whichever type of customer, type of player you are, here's your different options. But we've still got some work to do in communicating that.
Also, fair question, and if people see it as a predatory system, I'm not going to fault them, because I think a lot of apps like this that you pay for monthly or in this way, they do turn out to be that way. So it's a fair question, and he's right. He's just said there that maybe they need to work on the communication. I think that is something that they are learning. What I would say, if you're concerned about the app, you're not sure what you need to pay for or which bits you get for free, just open up the web browser, take a look. Don't give them any money. Just sign in. I think you need to make an account, but just don't take out a subscription and have a little play and figure it out and see what you want and if you'll actually utilize it. And if everything that's there for free is enough for you, fantastic. That's the best thing that I can advise as someone who's played around with the app a little bit.
Because the fact that people feel like it's only subscription, it isn't. Subscription is for a third of the player base.
Okay.
80% of the people on it are on it for free. I'm very happy with it.
Thanks for that one. So I think this is an interesting question. And it could be to both of you, actually, but we'll see who fancies it. Outside of balance-related stuff, is there one thing that you felt really good about when originally making or originally releasing Flashpoint, but now don't feel like you nailed quite the way you wanted to at the time?
I've got one, Clive. I could go first if you want, and then you can go second.
You go first.
The interesting was when we did. It's not. When we did this terrain, it was just unbelievable because I'd kind of set them this task of assembled cardboard terrain, and the first time they brought that in, I was like, yeah, okay, that's a game changer. haha, see what I did there. You know, you could actually, for the first time, and you don't realise how hard it was to get into Dead Zone until you realise, yes, there's only 8 figures in your faction, bit of plastic glue, one hobby weekend, and you're playing, but there's a month's worth of terrain building. You know, there's probably 20 screws in the box. I think it's 125 quid, $150, $175, because it weighs about 3 tons because of all the hard plastic terrain in it. Because you need enough to play the game. When the guys came in with this terrain, I was like, oh my god, that is incredible. That really is. It's 3D now. You get on high. There's stuff. Okay, I love it. We're talking about the spec of Rise of the Banished with started sculpting them, and I said, and actually it was Cleric's idea. He said, why don't we put it all in a box all together? And I said, well, that's fine, but that one has terrain, and this one, what else can we put in it? And then I just,
what terrain?
Well, and the other thing was, all the time when we're looking at pictures and we're sculpting them, we're looking at this themed backgrounds. The images
Stunning.
There have this very cool orangey, reddy, grey kind of vibe going on, which looks very different than this world. And so I said to the guys, how about terrain? And they went, no, Ronnie, we've only just got over the PTSD from the last set. That took us to our absolute limits. No, we're not going there. Don't be ridiculous. So you go, okay, fine, I'm asking too much. Driving home, driving back, driving home, driving back. Sat there going, but look at it, it's so gorgeous, it's that theme. And so eventually I came and I said, well, you know how I'm the boss? I want some new terrain. And I want it in that reddy orange colour. I think it'd be cool, so please go and do it. And after they picked themselves up off the floor and stopped crying and got them to come out of locking themselves in the cupboard, they went away, and then I didn't see any more of it. They said they'd do it. It was great. And I thought what they'd do is take the original stuff and put a new skin on it and just recolour the terrain. And what they did was they found ways of getting
It's amazing.
triangles and different edges and little
It's amazing.
platforms that come out and stick on the front. And it's just remarkable. And it's incredible because not only is it thematic now, it also has a different role in the game. You whack it down, it's got different profiles and different shapes. And what I was so proud of them doing was that they didn't just dial it in when they were asked to go back and do something. They took it to a whole new level that actually made the earlier stuff there was a revolution just 5 months earlier now look like something that was pretty good, but wow, this is what the cutting edge is. So that was something where I thought we'd pushed the envelope, and we had, and then the guys went and pushed it again.
And the new Mombasa stuff.
Yeah, I think I was surprised by the shapes that the Rise of the Banished terrain could be while still feeling strong and also being like just push fit cardboard terrain like the odd ones.
Unbelievable.
Because we've got some more people just being really, really excited for wanting their specific favorite faction to come along, like Swords of San Helios.
Yes.
I mean, there is a question in that of more variants of elites and elite armor styles, and I guess brute armor styles as well. Different ranks within the video game have
different
styles of
timeline,
armor, different types of helmets, and so on. But I think from the answers we've already had, folks, the answer's going to be the same. If we're allowed to do it, we'll do it. Because all of those things.
The sales continue to ramp up. I mean, I think you
profit.
You read a very interesting article.
Regret, truth,
talking about
whatever.
How Halo was running up the
and an honor guard,
the charts,
and that's your firefight, your fight team.
Miniatures game in spring, Q1 this year. So if we can keep that momentum up, everything is possible. And I think and that's down to both recruiting, people organising events. It just growing and spreading in ways that we couldn't imagine and couldn't understand. And our commitment is the more we sell, the more we'll do. It's as simple as that. So it feels.
But they have also tapped into something that both tabletop and wargame fans enjoy, which is a solid rule set and a fun game and core mechanics that are as they've said, easy to pick up, but they take time to master and really get your teeth into. And they've crossed that with not just beautiful, out-of-the-box, stunningly detailed figures that are improving with every expansion that they've done so far, I think. But also, they've taken a franchise in Halo that is widely beloved, has a huge fan base as the video game side alone, and then you've got all of the splinters of the extra lore. You know, there's people who read Halo books who probably don't play the games as much, and you know, there's graphic novels, there's the full-on Halo multiplayer side, the people who just play the multiplayer stuff, and Halo World Championship, it's coming up end of next month. That's their thing, and there's cosplay, there's all of the expected stuff in this incredible 24-year-old franchise, almost 24-year-old franchise from release of CE. And they've just wonderfully tapped into every element of every part of every person that would enjoy both tabletop wargaming and Halo. And they've created this with an existing rule set that they had, and it is just remarkable. And for me, 343 Industries have fumbled the ball when it comes to Halo, in my opinion. I still love the books. The novels have been incredible. The wider lore is still as good as it always has been, I think. But the games have hurt the franchise. Certainly Halo 5, and I don't think Halo Infinite was ever a return to form that it needed to be outside of the art style. Halo fans just want to have and play Halo, and this lets you do that in a different way, but with the same love, the same attention to detail, the same design as the original Halo games. Stunning miniatures, you can paint them up, you can paint your own Spartan fire team, and do multiplayers on your dining table in physical form. And I think that is something that people are going to see, and even wargamers, even people who just do Games Workshop stuff, who just play Warhammer 40,000. Oh, there's a Halo game. I remember playing Halo as a kid. Or I'm a fan of Halo Infinite. I'll have a look at that. I've had a conversation with somebody at the weekend who, when we mentioned that there was a Halo game, they were straight away on their phone looking at Mantic and looking at the models. They've tapped into something, and it has become, I think, just Mantic and Halo Studios designing this. And it's all Mantic, but Halo Studios have to sign it off. I think that it is a match made in heaven, and hopefully it continues to grow, because it deserves to grow. But it just works for me.
It feels very exciting. The momentum seems to be with it.
And because of that,
yeah,
they have this momentum.
I've caused a chain reaction of people wanting different styles of elite armor. What have we missed? There's a couple of questions here that I missed. Are plans for official game? Wolf Rider 10 asks, are there any plans for official game modes for more than 2 players, like 2v2s, for example?
There's.
Ooh.
So, there are some things that we're requesting, for example, that will allow you to play modes that are bigger than what we play now. Those
Big team is a thing.
Could potentially be very, very good for multiplayer games. And, 2 versus 2s absolutely would work with some of the stuff that we would like to develop and push out to you. Ultimately, as Ronnie pointed out, that comes down to getting a yes from our licensed partners.
I certainly think at the moment, the current game, particularly now once you've added points and you've added some choice, if you played a bigger game on a 2x2, you could easily split that to 2 players aside, and you won't. None of you will be bored, because you are almost always being shot at or shooting something. So let's say you played a 2x2 game with 400 points. It will be absolute carnage. It will be mayhem, but there will be stuff going on all the time. We do say when people ask us,
On the flip side, you could also do a 6-man or an 8-man
to a side, because if you've got one figure
free for all.
you're out of the
Rumble.
game 7/8 of the time, or maybe 6/8 if you're in shot out and responding to. But certainly, I think it's fair to say 2x2. And even at this point, we've already seen people starting just shoving 2 mats together and taking two factions per side and say, let's just have a big throwdown. And if my guy drifts over onto your side, let's have at it. And the joy, the flexibility of the game is that's absolutely well within the realms of fun. So
you can make this stuff up.
Scenarios that supported that sort of thing built too.
Wouldn't it be fun? Wouldn't that be fun?
It would, wouldn't it?
There you are, folks.
Is that the ODST
chair of the Halo Flashpoint
feet first
committee saying it would be fun to
stuff?
Have some scenarios
In a funny
that allow
tone of voice. Wouldn't it be fun in that kind of knowing tone of voice?
very specific.
Is that the ODST thing?
Almost sardonic tone of voice.
Yeah.
Here's one that I think is not terribly challenging and probably quite fun for you to answer, but still of interest to quite a lot of people because it's new. How are the ODST going to feel on the tabletop compared to the other factions? So probably a Clive question first.
They're different. So you're used to Spartans who can run through walls and take shots everywhere and super fast and almost like Halo Flashpoint on easy mode. They are good at everything. Then you've got elites who are good at almost everything anyway. They're fast, they're lethal, don't get caught out. You've got brutes that can hit like a truck. Then you have ODSTs coming in, and one of their main strengths is you get more of them, and they just have mechanics that you haven't seen yet, and access to things. You can build quite brutal little teams with them. But there's going to be a learning curve because they don't play like Spartans. They don't play like elites. They don't play like brutes. They have a unique flair, and they're going to be a lot of fun, but they will be challenging to start with.
Okay. Okay.
Sorry, Ronnie, go ahead.
I was going to say, Eric said it, they play different, and I think a steep learning curve because they're coming up against 2 elite forces, and they're more horde. But if you play them right, whole heaps of fun. Just expect to take more casualties.
Yeah, I think one of the points that's important to stress on there is if you add something new to Halo Flashpoint, it's important that each faction, each squad, each expansion has its own flavor and reward for playing it. It's no good just simply introducing more Spartans that feel like playing Spartans. It's important every time we kind of release something new that they have their own DNA that brings something fresh to the game. And I think that's important whenever we look at any new factions that we might want to do, any new rules that we write. It's always the most important factor is what's their flavor and how do they improve the ecosystem we already have.
That's a really interesting encapsulation of what you have to think about with all of the potential additions that have been talked about today. People, dearly want to see this, that, and the other. They want to see Marines and Jackals and more variants of elites and so on.
How do you make it different?
That stuff that Cleric just said, that's the process that they're going to have to think through with each of those. Not just how do we make the miniatures look good, but like what are they going to add to the game in the short, medium, and long term.
Hey, Alex, can I just... Munchy Dragon has just come back on the app thing where he says, that's not true. Every time I build a list, I see things locked by subscription, like the stats of the add-on weapons. And this was the point that you can't use those weapons unless you've bought the pack of soldiers, because that's where the cards and the weapons are. If you bought that pack, the army list will allow you to add it, and then you have the card that goes in front of you. So if you haven't got the model, you haven't got the card. You can't have the model and the card. So everything in Cerberus, you get 4 Spartans and their 4 cards, and so you don't need the stats of the add-on weapons because they're on your card. So it's just this idea that people think that there's something on the stats in the army list that isn't there. If you've got that model, you've got the card for it. If you've got the model for it, the card for it, you can put it in your army and you can play it. So we might need to make that clearer on the app, Munchie Dragon. But there isn't anything locked that if you've got the model, you've got the card. If you've got the card, there's nothing behind the paywall that you have all the information.
On the app, the weapon is locked, so you can't buy that weapon and put it on someone else and see it in the app. But what you can do, I think, is what Ronnie's saying, and if I'm wrong, Ronnie, I apologise, not that you'll see this. Community, let me know in the comments, because I have subscribed so I can't test this. You can still see the points for the weapons. Maybe you can't. I don't want to get fixated on this app question. I think both the question and Ronnie's answer are correct. But they're not... yeah. I don't know how I'd test that. Maybe I need to look at the app again. That's a complete tangent. But yeah, if you buy Cerberus, you have the cards for those 4 Spartans. You can see what the weapons that they start with do. What I'm thinking is, what the question is about is additional weapons and building. So, for instance, you take the Spartan with the target locator and you give them a weapon that's not in that pack. Let's say a Needler. You can't see the stats for the Needler because you haven't unlocked the Needler in the app. And I don't know how you get around that. As a loose idea, yeah, I do think, as much as I love the app, and I think that I get a lot of joy out of the app because I've subscribed, the free version probably needs to be signposted better. We're going to move on before I get myself in trouble. Yeah, interesting. And I don't know how I can play around with that on my side.
If you download the PDF, it'll have that information. Well, it lasts the rule book, but that makes sense. I think people think there's something behind the paywall that is you don't get access to as a non-paying subscriber. You don't. It's just a convenient way of seeing it. And the stats are provided.
So if I understand, yeah, okay. So Munchie, with fair point. So used to other systems where the cards are immediately out of date on launch, so have to use the app to get the most balanced game. And from what Ronnie's just said, that's not the case here. It's just that those rules,
the cards are sticking around,
tied to models. If you don't have the models, you don't get the rules on the app or otherwise.
And it's a great question. I think it's something we need to explain better because people think no, it's simply, and if you've got the subscription, that stat will come up for you and it'll print your army list out. But it's a convenience thing, the reminder thing.
Yeah, so coming from a Warhammer background as well, which changes all the fucking time. The cards for Flashpoint have been updated once in Wave 2 to be designed and look differently. But post that point, all of those cards, the cards in the Rise of the Banished, the cards in the Feet First box, and all of the cards that you have are the cards that you will play the game with, potentially for the longevity of the game. They don't change. The only thing that might get balanced that we'll see is points. But the cards, to my knowledge, and from what they've said in the past, the cards will always be what you physically have. They shouldn't change unless something drastically goes wrong or there's some serious balance issues. But if you have the physical card, because you've bought that pack, you have all the information that you need for those weapons, those Spartans, the core game, set comes with them as well. So yeah, I don't think I was understanding that one either. It clearly needs signposting better, and it's good that both Ronnie and Cleric are on here to take that away.
Then the information. That information is purchasable with the models in the stats, in the card, and you've got it all there.
Nice one. I know it's a really useful thing to clarify. We are closing in on the last 10 minutes, folks. So this is the point where I'll normally start to be a bit harsher on answers and try and get things moving as more of a quick fire. So here's a question that's come up a couple of times. Are you looking into doing adapting iconic Halo multiplayer maps from the video game into map boards for the game?
In short, that one is a yes. We'd love to. Some maps require a bigger game to make them a reality, and you can't do them justice on a 2x2 board. And the one that's going to come up the most, and Ronnie will know it too because he's seen it many times, is Blood Gulch. You know, we all love Blood Gulch, but it doesn't really work on a 2x2 board. It barely works on a 2x4 board. So it's one of those things that I think is for the future. When we can do it properly, then absolutely, why wouldn't we want to?
Yeah.
That seems to put it in an interesting context with earlier answers, folks. There's thoughts happening, there's long-term plans into which that might fit, and clearly thought has gone into it already. Emplacements. We did mention vehicles as well, but emplacements are an interesting one. You know, mounted guns. Maybe the ability to pick up those mounted guns and carry them around.
That would be so cool.
Yeah, ooh, that's a good idea.
Maybe.
Think of that.
Maybe we already thought of it.
No, we didn't think of it, Clive.
I don't know.
Something like that.
I mean, really tactical
What's the space
humans
for you?
drop in somewhere could be a really useful addition to that sort of thing, I think.
ODSD's pickup turrets. Confirmed.
Where have we got to? There's a couple more questions.
Amazing.
that I maybe missed.
This ODSD box
I
is
think
going
there's
to
a few
just
questions
add
popping
so
up
much
around
to
the
this game
balance
again.
update that would be useful to just clear up.
Do that.
There's going to be a booklet. It's a free PDF. It's going to tell you everything that's updated. It's going to be available the same day that we update the app. If you have a subscription, even if you don't have a subscription, there's nothing in that update you can't see for free. There'll be a free PDF, and the rules will update on the app that need it. It will not invalidate anybody's cards. That's an important point to stress.
Great.
We designed this system so that we wouldn't have to keep tweaking the things that you physically use to play. Anything else, points, keywords, certain rulings, things, all those things potentially can be changed
Bravo.
very easily via either a PDF that's going to be free or the rules that live and get updated every time you need it via the app.
I mean, my job is reporting on what tabletop game publishers, game designers do with their products, including their rules and how they sell them and how they release them and what problems that brings up in the community and what community thinks about it. It's not super common to have that level of pre-planning on how you are going to be able to tweak and balance a game without re-releasing, without selling people more cards.
Yeah, we don't want to invalidate what you've purchased. All we want to do is make the game better.
Between Spartan Edition, which was the draft system, and War Games, which was where we redesigned the cards because you can now add items to them. But you know, you've got 16 cards in the War Games expansion, whereas in every other exec you get 4. You know, we gave you one play, all updated. Now you can either just play draft, starting learning, and then when you start adding points, here you go. Here's the whole lot for everything in there. So.
But for the points themselves are also included in the War Games expansion, which I think is a must-buy. So it made sense. And that is the only time that they've changed the cards. And it was just so they can envisage this design philosophy of, these are the cards, they don't change.
tried arguing that 8 would be more than enough, and they said, "Stop being tight, Ronnie. Shut up and putting them in." We want people to come and play our games. We want them to come and join us. We want it to be as accessible as possible. And having done this for 15 years and been hugely successful with The Walking Dead, but when we talk about release schedules being fast, because we'd kickstarted that, we had the first 4 waves. They were coming out every 3 months. There was 8 SKUs in every wave, including a few new retail ones, and it did become too much too quick, and we didn't have balance, and there was so many characters that you could put an OP gang together because there wasn't army restrictions. So I've got this grey hair by making every single mistake there possible is to make when launching a war game, and I'm hoping that eventually I just run out of doing stupid things, and by default it's the best game ever because I've made every other mistake somewhere else. So yeah, we don't think about the launch, we think about the journey.
Right, we're down to our last 5 minutes, and there's a couple of stupid questions to answer, which I think will be fun. What's your favourite Spartan besides the Chief?
That we've made or that we're going to make?
Yes, to both questions.
One that we're going to make, personally.
Do it. Spartan that you haven't released yet. What are you making?
Noble Team are pretty cool, aren't they?
They are really cool. I mean, it'd be a real shame if someone were to drop something like that around the world, wouldn't it? I think it'd be reaching to conclusions.
Noble Team confirmed.
There's a picture of that we could see.
It has to be the 6, right?
Gosh, I wasn't soft enough there, was I? Noble Team, yes.
Amazing. Has to be the 6 though.
What was the other fun?
Ask for forgiveness later.
Amazing.
There's a real good key here, isn't there?
Noble Team, yes, please. Right, let's talk about Noble Team. Noble Team are not Spartan 4s. They are not Spartan 2s. They're not actually in between. I would say Spartan 3s are, well, they were suicide troops. They were made shock troops to just drop in and forget about. Basically, they were the cheap option because the UNSC saw how good Spartans were, didn't like to pay for all of the war gear. There are still some Spartan 3s around. Some of them, I believe, are still Spartan 3s. Some of them, I believe, became Spartan 4s. But also, a lot of them didn't make it out of the conflicts that they were in. They are agile and fast, but they are under-armoured, and they are weaker than the Spartan 2s, and on a even keel, but probably slightly weaker than Spartan 4s. So, Noble Team is slightly different because George is a Spartan 2, so he's going to have to be chief level. Honestly, he needs to be chief level defensively. Not necessarily everything else, because chief is, he is up here. George is a normal Spartan 2. But to make them, you would have to have them as a team of 6 within that 200-point limit personally. Although you can play around with that. That's just a personal for me. But to do that, they need to be weaker offensively and defensively than your standard Spartan. But they would maybe have keywords and things that would counteract some of those deficiencies. Maybe. I would maybe have them less armoured and the shields not as strong. But they would still have the same damage output. But because they are that 1 pip of armour less and 1 pip of shields less, you can have more of them and you would get the full team on the board. Is how I would probably see Spartan 3s and Noble Team. I am not a games designer. I am not a rules writer. I don't know balance. That's how I would love to see them personally. Let me know what you guys think, because I don't think we're actually going to hear anything about them. Maybe that's the next box. Reach was just 15 years anniversary earlier this month. So maybe the next box is the 6 Noble 6. Well, Noble Team, but you would have to include Noble 6 as well. I'm just... Oh, they would look so beautiful. Mantic sculpting them. They would be incredible. Oh, how are they gonna... You have to do them as the 6. Let me know what you think in the comments below.
Tell you what, you're gonna get killed for that one, Cleric.
Nice.
I
Very
slipped
good.
of the finger, I think. But...
Oh no, keyboard malfunction.
Yeah.
That is super cool. I think it's something that people would have been waiting for and expecting and hoping for a long time.
Yeah.
I know my Halo fandom got reactivated by Reach when that came out. Like I'd kind of dropped off a little bit.
Reach was so good.
That's so cool.
Campaign, multiplayer,
and
everything.
Bringing it back to the story point. You know, I know that there's nothing to confirm there yet, but there's one of the things that Reach did was go, oh hey, let's jump a little bit in the timeline. Let's show you a different part of the overall lore. We'd love to see that with Flashpoint as well.
Put you in different shoes.
Like I said.
Yeah, and I think they're getting a little bit more relaxed about, you know, and there's other games out there. I mean, we had it when I did the Hellboy game, and you know, you've got Liz and Hellboy and those guys. At no point did those 4 people ever meet in the comics. But you need a group of adventurers that are good guys, and you need frogs, and you need the Nazis, and you need the dragon. And so I had to say to them early on, what people are doing is, we're going to set it in your world. The baddies are going to be bad. The goodies are going to be good. But then we have to give the players agency. They have to have choice. And once they relaxed, and you know, when we started sculpting a monkey with a gun and the wild turkey, they were like, yeah, okay, you know what, you've got it. And the more that the Halo franchise team are starting to trust us, they're starting to allow us to go, yeah, we know that never met that, but the truth is what people want to do is play it. They love those characters, they want to paint them, they want to collect them, and they want to use them in a game.
I would always build a lore accurate team. I do it with the Middle-earth strategy battle game, which I love. But I always build my armies around who is where at whatever time. Helena Fields is the best one for me because you can do so much with so many different characters. But with this, I would build blue team. It would be Chief, Fred, Kelly, and Linda, if I can make it fit in the points, obviously with their respective weapons. But I wouldn't necessarily be against people running Noble 1, Noble 3, Chief. Although those characters didn't interact, they were all operative and operating within the same time frame. You can't really break Halo that way. Unless you go way, way, way back. Or you look at, well, okay, so Noble Team didn't make it off Reach. Reach fell before the Halo series really started. So you have Noble Team and then all of these other characters that are newer characters. Some of the Spartan 4 characters, Lasky, all of these people who... Lasky was around for Reach, but he was a recruit, basically, a recruit age. But there's no reason why you can't put them all in a team and you just pick and pay your points and you put on your war gear and you can have Emil, Chief, potentially Lasky down the line with Dare and a couple of ODSTs, and that is your squad. But they are all the same faction, so fundamentally it works. Nobody should turn around and tell you, well, that's not lore accurate. Because really that doesn't matter, just go and enjoy the game. And that's what this gives you. I think that Halo Studios like the separation. You're never going to get that because the nostalgia is with the Bungie era. And I'm sorry, Halo Studios, but you haven't lived up to that bar yet. You may. But the Bungie era is what people want. And if that's bringing in with, you know, Mark IVs running around with Mark IIIs, they have never really interconnected. But why the hell not? Just have fun.
Scenario of what if, and you know, it starts with Spartan v Spartan.
Spartan 3's probably never fought the Banished.
Obviously,
just
that's
do
why
it.
it's born. But the truth is, what they want is agency to go and play, and so we give them that. And the more
Okay, quickfire 2. What's your favourite weapon currently? Cleric, go.
Battle rifle.
Favorite weapon
In Flashpoint specifically.
in Flashpoint. It's a tie between the MA40 because it's just so useful, or the grav hammer.
Workhorse.
Smashing stuff.
and exactly the same reasons you blow people off the.
Yeah.
You've got knockback on it. Get that sniper out of there.
I loved your which also reminded me of a previous Mantic release, Worms to Board
Worms.
Game. Read the review on Wargamer.com right now.
That's incredible.
Is
If you are a genius and looking for a balanced game that shows off how clever you are, this is not the game for you.
No, sir.
Not
Not at all.
chaos, where everything goes wrong, might be the one.
Whiton's collab with the 405th? Question mark.
Well, they did in America when I think it was DreamCon. They had the 405th there. They had every event we do. There's always someone cosplaying in Spartan armor, and they seem to find our booth nicely. And they're sat, and then we take pictures. They're playing the game. Yeah, it's just a cool thing the community does, and we're happy they come along with us.
You'll notice in the photo I chose in the Discord to represent this event is just like Ronnie hugging a Spartan. So it happens quite a lot. Different chief armor like Mark 5 and 6. Ooh, that'd be nice. We did talk about.
We will revisit Chief a couple of times because he's a very cool figure, and he's the main character. So of course,
Chief in the Halo 3, slightly battle damaged, Mark 6.
He looks like that.
Oh, the tone of Sweepy's questions here is just very, very sort of like.
Please do this. Please do this.
Please give us Arbiter and put him with the Chief. But I do concur. That would be really cool.
We need an Arbiter.
All right, we've got to 5:30. I'm going to do a thing now, which is what I normally do at the closing of an interview, and ask each of you: is there something we should have asked you that we haven't asked you? So Ronnie, what should we have asked you about Halo Flashpoint?
Crumbs, that's a tough question. I should have prepared better.
This always gets them.
Why is it going crazy? And was that asked? Why is it shooting up? I hope it's because we've got enough experience, but I think we've got a very, very clear vision for the game, and it's about fun. I think we want to paint miniatures, we want to go down, but gaming is a social interaction, and too much of it can overweight to the competitive side, not enough to just how good it is for you getting together with people and rolling dice. And why do we leave 8 mechanics in it? Because they're fun, because they create dynamic moments in your head. Why do we have command dice that allow you to do that thing you've just really loved doing? Again, I've just hit you with the graph hammer. I enjoyed it so much, I'm gonna do it again. And what we're purposely trying to create is not the most perfect and balanced and fairest game. We want it to be good and balanced and fair, but we also want it to be crazy fun at times. And I think, why is it doing well? I hope not because it's the most perfectly balanced game people have ever played and they can go out and beat their friends. It's because they want to spend time with their friends and other people they've not met, rolling dice with them, having a laugh, going, I really, really enjoyed that. And let's do it again next
that's what I want to start doing.
Set tournaments up, let's have some fun with it.
Yeah, I just want to enjoy.
Awesome. Guys, it's been such a pleasure.
Just before Alex closes off, I'm having for a few reasons, but I'm currently having a trying point in my life again. This happens every couple of years. This time it isn't me completely. I'd have issues with nerves and things, and I'd live in pain, so there's always a bit of me going on here. But there's been a family situation recently, and sometimes, in fact, there's been 2 different sides of the family, but there's been 2. Sometimes it is just about hanging out with people, rolling dice, and just enjoying I've really enjoyed this AMA, not just for the information that we've had. I think we've had some fantastic questions. I think we've had some fantastic answers. I think Alex has done a great job in putting it all together. And Cleric and Ronnie have been, I mean, Ronnie's a rock star anyway, but Cleric has kept up with him, and the answers have been great, and it's been amazing to see the future of Flashpoint. But this Flashpoint community and what it's done for me over the past 9, coming up 10 months, since we've been covering this officially. I mean, I say I kicked the channel off in January. It was a little bit before then, but in the last year, since I've started this channel, even just in the comments of my videos, it's just people who are wanting to enjoy, or mostly it's just people who are wanting to enjoy. And Halo Flashpoint has been the highlight of that. Certainly for me, and I hope that as things settle down and the game grows also, but also I'd like to see more in my area, and I can certainly start to do more. I can work out the time and tournaments and just rolling dice with people. Wargaming is a social interaction. It is a social contract between you and the person you're playing at that moment in time. But fundamentally, it has to be fun. And this is my escapism, like it is for all of us who do this hobby. And yeah, it's just nice to have a CEO of a company that makes these games, that sells you these games, that asks for your money for this product, to turn around and say, we want people to have fun. That's the kind of CEO that I would want to work for. It's the kind of company that I am happy to give my money to. And I think that it speaks for itself, the success of Halo Flashpoint. It is a solid rule set. It is also a company who care about every aspect of that game. So on Ronnie's point there, and the social interaction is what set me off. I'll get back to the video in a second. That's what it's all about, and we can lose sight of that. But absolutely, just go roll dice and enjoy yourself. Let your hair down. I haven't got much to let down anymore, but I haven't got any to let down anymore. But just enjoy whatever you do. Just enjoy it. Because, you know, sometimes things aren't all great in the world. Right, let's get this finished before I get too emotional.
Yeah, we've run out of time.
I'd completely off track.
Ronnie, Clive, thank you so much for all of your time and expertise today. Everybody in the audience, thank you so much for coming to Wargamer's latest live AMA. These are so much fun to do, and
the questions have been fantastic
in our community, and chat about Halo Flashpoint and tabletop games until your ears come off. As a reminder, if you want to get more into Halo Flashpoint, a really good way to do that is to read some of the coverage of the game on Wargamer.com. We are writing articles about it all the time. We'll be writing more over the coming weeks as new stuff happens, and perhaps some of the exciting new stuff that was talked about today starts coming out over the coming months. We will be there to report on it, and you should read about it on Wargamer.com. And that will always be going on here in our Discord. So come back soon and stay friends. But once again, Ronnie, Clive, thank you so much. Good luck with the next thing.
Thank you.
And have a great rest of your day. See you next time, everyone. Thanks for coming.
Thanks, Alex.
Bye-bye.
Thanks for hosting us. Bye-bye.
I'm just going to bounce back to a picture of all of them. I really thought that was excellent. I think Alex did a great job. I've enjoyed covering it, and I've enjoyed talking about it. Hopefully it sparks some debate in the comments. I've thrown some things at you guys, and I know I've said, let me know what you think about this, and this. The takeaways, basically everything is on the table. If the game is successful, and if things keep going as well as they are currently, there is no reason why they can't do more. They can't bring in other stuff. But the biggest takeaways for me, noble team. Amazing. Interesting switch to faction boxes and where this is going to go in the future, which I think is fine. I think it is a logical step to, instead of it being a faction box with double the miniatures, it is just a pack of 5 or 6 Marines in a box, and that and a couple of other bits is your release wave. I think that makes it easier to develop and release as well. It doesn't need to be, constant releases every other month. It can be on this nice easy window, so you get your faction box, or you get your couple of boxes of Spartans, Marines, Grunts, whatever. You have the time to paint them, play with them, and integrate them into what you already have. A bigger styled skirmish game with vehicles is definitely on the table as well. That's a huge takeaway. That is the big team, the true big team. That is something that I absolutely would love to see. Narrative was surprising, but again, I think that is something that would really excite me. It's something that I'm looking to develop behind the scenes for myself and for this channel and the community. But I have spoken to someone at Mantic who said if you come up with anything and you want to share it with them, they'll have a look, and if they like it, then it might be something that they pick up. They are open to this stuff. And as Ronnie has said, as Cleric has said time and time again, nothing is off the table. It's just how they implement it. And they want to take their time with this, they want to be serious about this, but they have plans way into the future. As long as we keep supporting this game as a community, as long as the community keeps growing, obviously part of that is buying the products. And I think that there is a desire for so many more factions and things that the community want, and eventually Classic Covenant come out, it'll sell like hotcakes. So I think that there is so much scope, and this is answering a few questions for me of what is their vision of the future. We're coming up to 12 months. We're about to get our 4th expansion. And in a year that is quite impressive. But what's next? Noble Team, Marines, Ungoi or Grunts, and the Jackals. They're all looking like they're coming next year. And potentially 2027 is going to be vehicles, which will be the same scale. Pick your faction, build your army. It is not going to be invalidated. Everything that they do is going to be entombed within the expansive Halo lore. Video games, books, everything that's out there. It is all on the table, but they're not going to make up their own stuff. That's exactly what I want to hear. Incredible. Absolutely incredible. I've really enjoyed doing this reaction. I know it's been a long one. My voice is killing me. I am still not right post-op on my voice. But hey, this was great. Alex, on a personal note, again, thank you so much for letting me do my reaction. Please, everybody, go check out wargamer.com. It's linked in the description below. Go check out the YouTube channel. It is linked in the description below. I've also put a couple of articles. One about a big team battle firefight style Halo iteration in the future of Flashpoint, or the next step up from Flashpoint. And there's one about Noble Team as well. Do go check them out. Show Wargamer a little bit of love and some of the support that you've shown me, because this has been excellent. And if this is the quality and the level of things that they do, Wargamer's been around for years and I didn't even know about them. But I'm blown away. I'm a convert. I'm really impressed, and I will be using and utilizing their site. They have other AMAs that we mentioned earlier. I am going to go and watch the Joe McCullough one, hopefully tomorrow, but I will find time over the weekend, if not, to sit down and watch that, because Joe is fantastic on a side note away from Flashpoint. But this has been great. I'd love to know your thoughts. I'd love to know what you think that has come out of this video, what you think the future lies, what you want to see, and what you're excited for. If you've enjoyed this and my take on any of these points, please like the video, subscribe, do all the YouTube stuff. There is so much more Halo Flashpoint coming. I know we've been in a bit of a lull, but I'm just figuring out what I'm going to do with everything. And then obviously as ODSD comes, my pre-order's in, I'm waiting for that next month. I'm hoping to start to ramp it up a little bit more as well. So there is going to be so much more Flashpoint coming on this channel in the future. Bear with me, we are going to get there. And your support is a huge factor of that. and a huge part of that, so thank you very much. As always, thank you very much for watching, and I will see you all in the next one. And that button doesn't work anymore.